a consonantal suffix to it, like katal, katala, katal, ta, what happens to the third hay? When we have a consonantal suffix, the third hay shows up as a yod. Okay? And then we add the suffix. So instead of katal ta, we get ba ni tha. This is old business, correct? The third thing that happens, which is exemplified over here in the third plural, is that when a third hay root, whatever it is, adds a vocalic suffix, that is a suffix that either is or begins with a vowel, what happens to the third hay? It disappears. Remember that the basic principle of third hays is that the third hay isn't a consonant but a final long vowel. And you can't add a vowel to a vowel, so this one goes away, and this form of the third plural will simply be banu. Okay? Now, that's the same stuff that happens in the piel. Again, to review, a third hay plays three tricks on you, right? It'll either be there, in which case it'll bring its own vowel, it'll change to a yod before consonantal suffixes, or it'll disappear before vocalic suffixes. You can predict that. That's what it does in the kal, that's what it does in the pi'el. In other words, the third singular masculine form of tsiwa, in the third singular masculine, when there's no suffix, the hay is retained, right? That's when the hay stays there, when there's no suffix at all. So let's make this pi'el. Well, there's our dagish. Remember that this wow is a consonant. It's a W. There's our hirik. Now, what's the final vowel going to be? Well, in the perfect, when the wow brings, when the third hay brings its own vowel, it always brings the same one to the same dance. Brings the same girlfriend, brings the same vowel to the same dance. All right? But he always brings his own. And that'll be a comets just like it was a comets up here. Even though this is piel and this is kal, the third hay part stays the same. The way you know that this is a kal is not by this vowel, but by this vowel. And the way you know this is a piel is by this and this. Got it? Now, what happens in the form when we start adding consonantal suffixes? Well, what's the rule? When we add a consonantal suffix, what happens to the third hay? Changes to a yod, right? Now, let's make this pi'el. This could be kal, it could be pi'el. In any case, it's third hay, perfect, second masculine singular. You did something. To make it pi'el, we do that. Okay? You can spot that as a pi'el a mile away. You do get another I here, but that's almost irrelevant. You won't even worry about that vowel, so that you get tsiwitha. Tsiwitha. What happens over here when we add the the vocalic suffix, the consonantal suffix u? What happens to a third hay before a consonantal suffix? It disappears. So this form, just like banu, is going to be tsiwu. This looks a little weird, but there's really nothing that strange going on. Remember that this is a consonant, this is a consonant, this is a long vowel. This is a consonant, this is a consonant, this is a long vowel. The third hay's long gone. Now let's make this into a pi'el. Well, there's our dagish in the consonant, and a hirik there. Tsiwu. Tsade, hirik, one W, two W's. That's our dagish forte, long mater letter at the end. If you wrote this out, it'd be tsiwu. Okay, do you see what's going on here? This looks pretty funny. What makes tsiwa so funny is that you've got a wow as the middle root letter. So you get a wow as a root letter and a wow as the final vowel, and it just looks like too much goofy stuff going on. But hey, it's perfectly legitimate.
Certainly wow.
Okay?
That's why they call it a wow, huh?
Wow, how about that? All right, does that make sense? These shouldn't be a problem. Now, finally, let me add, and this is a chart that will prove helpful throughout the rest of the course. Because when third Hays bring their own vowel, it's always the same vowel. I made that point a minute ago. In the perfect, when the third Hay brings a vowel, and I'm going to go back to bana just because that's our traditional paradigm verb. In the perfect, when the third Hay has its vowel, that vowel in the third singular masculine will be a Hay. Okay? I'm sorry, will be a comets with the Hay. Now, this form could be Kal, could be Piel, could be Hifiel, for all we know, but that part is a constant. In the imperfect, when the third Hay is there, no matter what conjugation, when the third Hay is there, I'm going to put a yod prefix on there just to mark it as an imperfect. When the third Hay is there, it always has what vowel goes here in the Kal. Remember these third Hays in the Kal had a segol there. Well, it's also a segol in the Piel. In other words, the back end of the word is third Hay and will be consistently third Hay. The front end of the word is where you're going to get your conjugation. Do you see what I'm saying? This same form, I'm just going to rewrite it over here. This same form, if we point it this way, is what? What's yivne? As opposed to yivane. All right, do you see the difference? Well, this is the way we point cows. This is what we learned as yik, tick, 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 right? But this, with the dagish there and the schwa there, is the imperfect of the piel. But the third Hay business with the segol is the same no matter what conjugation you're in. And you can learn this vowel for every basic verb form. The imperative, no matter what conjugation you're in, the imperative, first form, when the Hay is there, has a tsare. The infinitive construct, which is the real common infinitive, no matter what the conjugation, the infinitive construct of a third Hay root goes to oath. No matter what. In other words, if we pointed this form ba-noth or bi-noth, what's the difference between ba-noth and benoth? This is your piel. This is your kal, like katol. So that third Hays, again, are consistent. Finally, the participle of a third Hay, no matter what the conjugation, the participle form in the masculine singular, again, has a segol. The feminine singular replaces that with a comets. The masculine plural, no matter what conjugation, takes off the Hay and puts on im, and of course the feminine, I should put my dagishes in there, the feminine plural goes to oath. That's true for any participle. These could be kal, these could be piel so far, right? If we wanted to make these all kal, we just leave the baith and put a holum in there. If we wanted to make them piel, we'd add a meme in front of it. You got to take out that dagish lane, obviously. We'd put a dagish forte in the middle root letter and point it as the piel participle and have mivanim. But this part, the third Hay is gone. If you go to the appendix of the book and look at the third Hay paradigm across the board, I don't want to take time right now, but go ahead and do that sometime, and you'll see how consistently the third Hay is insofar as it's a third Hay. The other parts of the word will change insofar as they're kals or piels or hifiels or perfects or imperfects or imperatives. But the third Hay stuff is the same in every conjugation.